Brother, you had a conversation with, what's his name? EF Dawah as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was
How was it?
ridiculous. I'm sorry.
No?
It was absolutely ridiculous.
They are very relaxed guys.
I don't know about that. If you watch the video, I mean, that it was a disaster. It was a disaster. Like even the simplest concepts were not being grasped.
When I go, then stop it. When I go that way, then stop. Inshallah, hope you get your answers.
There aren't any available. That's the thing. You can.
There are, brother, but I think that sometimes you know what it is. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it might be the way. I can only speak for myself. Sometimes it might be a shortcoming in my way of explaining it. Maybe I'm not doing justice. For example, when I spoke to you, my knowledge on a posteriori and a priori was very minimal. It was after you, when I looked at it, I was like, I wish I'd explained it to him in this way. So sometimes it's a learning curve. I'm not going to be arrogant and I'm going to say, look, I explained the best way, I know everything. Sometimes you can ask a question, I could be like, you know what? How would I explain this? Or how could I make it easier to explain it? So sometimes the shortcoming is with us as well.
I mean, you can use perfectly sound logic, but it still wouldn't make the point.
I think
And
I
you
think
can
it
make
will
the
help.
point to three.
I think it will help.
Right.
It will definitely help the conversation travel more rather than stagnate.
Yes.
Having, both of us speaking on a certain level and me being able to explain something, or it will, even if we're moving slowly, it helps.
I have the integrity to change my mind should I be proven wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think you're holding the same thing. Because if you're defending and you're having a bias and you're just defending this, and you don't let a slightest possibility that you might be incorrect.
The thing is, look,
I grew up in an Islamic country. I grew up in the midst of this.
I know Egypt, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So look, the integrity is like this, yeah? When there's an argument that's been put forward, you have to adequately refute it using the criteria at hand, right? Now, I don't remember the issues that you brought forth against, say, the contingency theory. I think your thing was that you believe that an infinite regress is possible and is coherent. That in itself, respectfully, is an incoherent position. Now, at that time, I don't know how convincing I was to get that across to you. That's what I'm saying. It's not me defending something indefensible. It's me defending something that is defensible, but maybe I'm not using an analogy. Maybe it's getting a bit heated or something. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe I'm frustrated. So sometimes those biases come in.
I was listening. I just didn't find the argument persuasive.
I don't remember.
Did
you
find it
justify
persuasive.
infinite regress?
Like I said, well, if there is, it needs to be a beginning for everything. What's the beginning of God? And then you said, if a creator can be created. I said, well, if there is one exception, why can't that exception be applied to the universe directly, rather than going one step backwards, and then the exception will be applied anyway?
Let me get to the nub of the issue.
Why can't the universe be the one that is exempt from this rule?
Because the universe, by definition, is dependent.
Well, I can say it's not dependent. I mean, you can just make any claim you want.
No,
right?
but how do we get definitions of
But
words?
how do you support that claim? You're making the claim that the universe is dependent.
Right.
What if I claim that it's not dependent? How are you going to disprove
So
that?
then you would have to prove why, and the criteria you have to bring.
You made the claim.
One
so
second. You asked, right? You said, how would we agree on a definition?
Yeah.
Let me pose that to you. How would you agree on a definition of dependent?
Well, the default status is, this is the default status. Unless you're making an additional claim, then you need to come with an additional evidence, right?
That's not answering my question. If I'm using the word dependent philosophically, how can we define this in a way that you're happy?
It depends on something else that have been created.
I'm saying what's the criteria. I'm not saying what the definition is that you'd be happy
It
with.
wouldn't have existed without something else.
You keep telling me a definition of dependent. Would that definition need to be a dictionary definition? Would it need to be something that you find in Stanford Encyclopedia? Would it need to be something that's mentioned by philosophers, Western philosophers? Is it something that you accept from Eastern philosophers? That's what I'm saying.
For a second, let's just use abstract common sense logic. And let's see where the words take us. Let's just make a scenario and imagine what would prevent a universe or a creation to just pop up in existence. What would prevent it from happening?
There's no evidence that we have of anything that comes from absolute nothingness.
All right, I can use the same thing for God itself.
Right.
If it, how could it have existed out of nothing?
But when you are when you're, let's just say you say that for God, then you need to now apply that for the universe. So taking your argument forward, what would you now say? Where
Okay.
did the universe come from?
We have one certainty now, is that we exist. We all know that we exist. At least there's something exists. So for this, an exception must have happened. For something, and instead of nothing, something happened because we're experiencing now. An exception must have happened.
What sort of existence?
What I'm
are
saying
you?
is that this exception happened directly and applied directly to the creation or the universe, not creation. But what you're saying is you go one step back and say, oh, a God.
What
had
are
this
the
exception
forms of
first,
existences?
And then created the universe.
What are the forms of existences?
It doesn't has nothing to do with the argument.
It does. I'm directly engaging with your argument.
My question is, what prevents
You
this from
said
happening?
there is existence.
What-
My follow-up question is, what are the forms of existence?
You answered the question.
No, I haven't.
It's irrelevant to my question, to my argument.
I haven't answered the question at all.
What is the form of existence?
You're just asking me what I've asked you.
Because it has nothing to do with the argument. You can't.
It does.
You can't answer a question by another
It does.
question.
And with respect, I think that's arrogant. Because you don't know, therefore either I'm not engaging or it doesn't exist. Just say, I don't know. Do you know? And let me analyze your claim.
But
That's
if
being
you,
honest.
If you use this method, we're not going to get anywhere. If we
Look,
keep asking each other
This
questions.
is a very integrous way of doing it.
Okay, and instead of
If
asking me
someone
that question,
brings,
just go ahead and explain it.
if someone
That's
brings
gonna
a word,
I'm not going to be dragged to this again.
if
you did it last
someone
time,
brings
I'm
a
not
word,
gonna be dragged.
and I'm asking you, flesh it out for me, you're going, that's the problem. No, that's not relevant. No, this.
Okay, let's focus
what
on
is
the
going
point.
on?
Let's not drift away from it. The
You
point is,
mentioned existence.
what prevents the universe of just existing without a creator?
You
What-
keep
what-
saying existent. Yeah? Am I supposed to just blindly accept your usage of the word existence?
It's just a word. It's a language. It's a linguistic issue. It's just a language issue. We all know that we exist, and we're certain about that. We're certain about that.
mean? What does that mean?
We know that there is existence. I think there's, therefore I am.
No.
Okay, 1 second.
So
I
at
think
least there must
I
be
think
some-
therefore I am.
Yes.
That's your fundamental, yeah?
This is just a basic understanding. Like
Tell
if
me
I
what you
exist,
mean.
if I'm asking, that means I must exist.
So
My
that's the most
consciousness must
foundational
exist.
thing.
Exactly.
Most foundational
Yeah.
thing. Say it so I don't want to straw man you afterwards.
I don't know how you're gonna manipulate it later, but I'm holding my position as of now.
So does that show an like someone that's
Well, because I fell for this before. You would make me something and then you take it out of context and then use it for your advantage.
I don't
I'm not
think
gonna
you're
fall
being
for this
honest
again. Yeah.
because you're assuming that I'm going to twist something later
because
on.
because it did happen in the
It's
last,
a belief.
in the last
It's an
debate.
assumption.
Yeah. So I think,
Frankly, I reject your belief and
I
assumption.
think the most
I reject-
fundamental belief is if I think that therefore I am. This is fundamental.
I think you've just experienced some negative things from your culture.
This is not.
Now-
let's not use ad hominem again.
No.
It has nothing to do with
It's
my
not
culture.
ad hominem.
It has nothing to do with my.
Sorry,
background,
that's
nothing
not
to do with
that's
my
not ad
culture.
it's not
Let's
ad
just
hominem.
stick to the
No, no, no,
argument
no.
and
No, that's
reason.
false. That's false.
Let's
That's
stick to
false.
reason. Yeah.
That's false.
Yeah.
That's false. Yeah. You've had certain experiences. It's an assumption of mine.
My experience is irrelevant.
No, no,
Let's
your
use
experience
logic
is
and
relevant.
reason. Let's
not
let's
against
stick
you,
to
that's
reason.
what I'm saying. We're not against
Your experience is very relevant because I haven't completed my argument. You've assumed I'm going to twist what you're saying. I'm going to warp what you're saying.
A pattern
I'm
recognition.
going to do this pattern
It
recognition.
happened last time.
I've only spoken to you once before.
Yes.
What pattern?
And I watched some
How
of the
is that
videos,
a pattern?
And I see the pattern.
Under what definition is speaking to someone before a pattern?
I also watch videos.
question,
For
right?
you. No, I also watch videos. You do the same thing with other.
You watch
can't
videos.
tell
I
a lot.
watch
Speakers.
videos. Big up Sherlock Holmes. Big up Watson. I watch lots of videos. That doesn't
I watch
now
your-
mean
no, I watch
that
your
I
videos.
believe Moriarty is going to come and get you in a
I know
headlock.
what you do in debates, right? You take things out of context and then you ask questions in the intent.
Oh, I
of
ask
shutting up.
questions. No way. Socrates asks questions. It's called the
You can
Socratic
ask
method.
questions relevant to the
So
argument.
you mention existence,
And you can't
I say
answer-
what are the forms
you
of
can't answer a
existence.
question by asking
Now
a
I'm
question.
warping what you're saying.
No rhetoric. Hold
No,
on.
I'm not going to accept
Bro,
this,
you just
I'm not going to accept.
You're just disingenuous.
No.
Cold logic conversation.
Let's cross-examine.
You're just disingenuous.
Let's cross-examine the issue at hand.
You're just
Let's do that.
disingenuous.
I'm not disingenuous.
Okay, let me
Let's
see now.
cross-examine the
So
the
if
issue
you're
at hand.
saying,
Let's not.
I think,
let's not
therefore
drop
I
away
am.
to
1
anything
second.
else.
If you're saying, I think, therefore I am, I'm saying, are you sure that's your position? I don't know how you're going to manipulate this. Oh, I've seen you manipulate before. Brother, just engage with the argument.
Yes.
Don't be,
Okay,
somebody
I think
that's,
therefore I have,
a snowflake.
I believe it's the most fundamental knowledge.
Okay,
Right.
you heard that, yeah? You heard that. You heard
Yeah.
that, yeah? I think, therefore I am. I'm going to borrow words from Nietzsche now. You're presupposing an I.
Yeah.
Why are you presupposing I?
Well, by
Where
I
did
I
it-
mean
where did this
by
I come from?
By I mean my consciousness or any.
So you're
consciousness.
presupposing a consciousness exists now.
Yes,
That's more fundamental.
Because if my consciousness doesn't exist, I wouldn't be thinking.
Then why wasn't that your answer?
Well, my physical existence may not exist. May
You
not
said
exist.
that's the most fundamental. Now you're giving me something more fundamental.
I'm giving you a definition of what I means. I might indicate my consciousness, not my physical existence.
Okay, so there is something more
my
fundamental
physical-
than I.
We could be living in a matrix. I wouldn't be able to tell.
Big up Neo. Okay, so
I wouldn't be able to tell. But
I-
what
I
I can tell for
also-
certain is that my consciousness exists.
Okay.
That's why I'm making this argument
how are you even conceiving an I? Through what?
through mind.
So now you're
reason.
presupposing a mind as well now. Where's the mind located?
Well, mind is not a physical thing.
Okay, but where is it located in your worldview?
Well, in what sense? Scientifically, it's located.
I'll
in
leave
the,
it open
in
to
the
you.
brain. But
I don't want to manipulate what you're saying, right?
physically or scientifically, thinking is made by the brain. It's
Now we're
located in the head.
presupposing a brain now.
But I wouldn't be able to tell if my physical existence.
And how does the
existence
brain
is
function?
real in the first place.
What is the brain relying upon?
Again, so this I fell for the same.
And you're
trap
falling for it again.
You keep going and asking questions, and drift
Yes,
away from
I
the-
will ask you
and
questions
drift
when
away
you make
from
a
the-
claim.
You can ask questions that are relevant to the argument.
How
but
is
you
this
keep
not relevant
moving
when you
away
said
from
I
the
think
argument.
therefore I am, and I'm telling you, why are you saying I?
Let's forget about this.
Why are
point.
you presupposing
Let's
an
forget
I?
about this. Now, what I'm
Was
saying,
it relevant questions that was
it is
asked?
irrelevant.
It was
You're taking me to a chain of questions.
relevant or irrelevant?
Is irrelevant.
Madness.
You're taking me to a.
He said I think therefore I am.
endless chains.
I asked him about
Let's-
I. He's saying irrelevant.
Let's roll back. To the
I
argument.
presupposes
Okay.
a mind.
So that was
That's
was
irrelevant as
one
well.
point. What I'm saying is, if I think, therefore I am, that means there must have been an exception in the rule of everything must have been created by something else, right? Because you and I exist.
No,
you know
that
you
doesn't
exist.
follow.
Struggling to make it.
No, that doesn't follow.
Okay, again,
Prove it.
is there again? I would ask the question that I asked in the last debate.
Mm.
Is there an exception to the rule that everything must have come from something else? Is there any exception at all, or no?
That's a very
It's a
vague.
simple question.
That's a vague
It's
question.
a simple question.
Give
Is
me.
there exception?
Are
or
we
is there no
talking in
exception?
terms?
Is that an absolute rule?
Are we
that has
talking?
no exception?
Are we talking in terms of contingency and necessity? Yes. Are we talking in terms of independent and dependent? Yes. What are you referring to?
Just take the question in the most basic
No,
sense.
no, 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 no,
In the
no.
most
no.
basic
No,
sense.
no. Define.
If you're using pure logic,
This
pure
is not
reason,
pure logic.
This is pure reason, right?
Okay, S5 or S4? Which one?
What is this?
Where is this?
What is this?
That's logic. That's modal logic.
Again, no. I will not be dragged to this.
You will not
I
be
am-
dragged into logic.
No. We're gonna use. You can't manipulate the argument again. My
It's
question
been
is
a
okay.
long
I am asking
day.
very simple questions that are very direct and very relevant to the question.
No, you're asking me a very
Okay.
vague question because ultimately,
Okay.
you know what you want to say? Oh, if this can't be an exception, then God can't be an exception. Aha, da da da,
It makes
gotcha.
sense.
No,
No, it makes sense.
No.
It's a simple question.
No,
If you
that's
use
a-
simple
it's- that's a
logic, using
very-
pure reason.
that's
Well,
a very
now-
disingenuous
now
argument,
that we have
Frank.
failed to present empirical evidence, now we're gonna roll back to the
Define
pure
it.
logic.
Define it.
Well, you can't. Well, last time you said that there's no empirical evidence that you can provide to prove existence of God, right? So as an alternative, we're going to use pure reason.
I didn't say that last time.
That doesn't make sense.
What I was saying was empirical evidence should not be the criteria for proving that there's a God.
What is then?
Anything metaphysical.
Everything else.
What is left? What is
Logical
left?
evidence, rational, testimonial evidence,
Testimony.
historical
You think
evidence.
testimony is evidence.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Well,
Most
how
of
do
what
we
you believe today, 95% plus, is testimonial.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like archaeological evidence. Have you gone to the sites and checked the archaeological evidence?
The researchers
Have you?
are readily available.
Have you?
The researchers are.
Wait, have you?
It's available to check.
Have you?
Right? If I decided to
Brother,
check
a
the
simple
archaeological
question.
evidence, I can go and check it because it's readily
Have
available.
you?
What if I haven't? But I can.
There you go.
But I can. But can I?
But I can.
But can I check? Can I?
I can check the
cross-examine
testimonial chains, yes.
How would you know?
So
What's
can
what?
can I?
I can
check-
read the
can I
books
check
of Jarh and
the moon's
Ta'deel,
split
yes.
to half? Can I check
You
that?
can check the chain
So
of
do you believe
transmission,
that-
yes.
Do you believe that the moon split to half?
Absolutely, I
You
believe
in
an
that?
all-powerful God
Someone
can
who
make
lives
a
in the-
moon
in-
split.
in the 21st century, and you believe that actually the moon split to half.
Yeah.
Yes.
You believe that?
I believe an
What
all-powerful
else?
being can make a moon split in half.
Is there any
Yes.
way? Is there a way that we can confirm that?
Yes, by
What is the-
looking
what is
at
the
the
way?
chain of transmission, by looking at the arguments when you place them
So-
above each other. For example, if you prove that there's a God, you prove that the revelation is the Quran that came from God, there is prophethood. It then follows what is mentioned in the scripture is from
can I
God.
directly confirm that the moon split to half?
Why
Can I
direct?
not?
Why direct?
Well, you said that it happened, right?
Yes.
Well, testimonies doesn't mean that it did happen. Even if you said that a million people saw it, if I can't confirm it, I wouldn't take that seriously.
Let me reiterate.
Yeah.
So testimony is a form of evidence. You asked me what are the forms of evidence.
It's the weakest.
I
form of
gave
evidence.
you.
No, it's not.
It's not
The
because
weakest.
95% of your knowledge you rely upon, which is testimonial
Incorrect,
evidence.
because I can go back
You
and check.
studied in school, from textbooks, from teachers. 95% of it came from people who you had to trust. You don't
there's
know
a way to
where
check.
your teacher studied. You don't know who she studied from. You didn't see her diplomas
But
and her
should I have
degrees.
any suspicion,
You
I
believed
can
in
go
it.
and confirm.
One second,
I can put it to test.
I will let you talk.
It's not the same
I will
as-
let
as-
you talk.
Yeah.
So if we are to prove that there's a God, that we prove that the Quran is a revelation from God, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a prophet sent by God with that revelation, it then follows what is written in that scripture is from God.
This
Is that
a fake
faulty
chain of causation.
reasoning?
This happened, then must this happen? This is a fake chain of causation.
Okay.
Right? This
A fake chain of what?
this of causation. Just because.
Okay, tell me why.
What do you mean?
Now what do I mean?
It
What
doesn't
do I
follow.
mean?
It doesn't
How
make
do we know
sense.
Julius Caesar got stabbed 65
Tell me how
times,
it-
3,000
No,
years
I said.
How do we know that?
Can you? Huh?
How do we know
No,
that?
no, he's
Julius
running,
Caesar
he's running, he's running.
Got stabbed 65 times, 2,000 years ago. How do we know that?
Who?
Julius Caesar. How do you know he got stabbed 65
Well,
times?
I
With
wouldn't.
Brutus
I
there
wouldn't.
as well.
I wouldn't take this knowledge to heart. It's not. It doesn't affect my life.
How do we know that now?
Should I? Should I
do we know
want?
now?
Should I want to confirm it? I would look deeper into it. But it's just such
How
a
would you go
trivial
deeper
thing.
into it with our testimony?
Huh?
How would you go deeper into it with our testimony?
Well, I wouldn't take it to heart. I wouldn't believe it
Okay,
100%.
so you won't take it to heart?
It doesn't affect my
Okay,
daily
then
life.
tell
It's
me-
not that important.
My
But
chain
if
of
someone says-
causation.
if
Why
I-
is my chain of causation wrong?
Why is it wrong? Because it could be. It's broken.
It's
broken,
broken.
yes.
It's broken, brother.
Broken chain of causation.
What part is broken?
What was the chain of causation you said?
You weren't listening, were
It's
you?
broken. Elaborate where it's broken. Sorry.
You said. So I said, how do you prove that the moon has split? He said, well, first you need to prove that God exists. First, and then follows
I didn't
the
say that.
revelation
That's
It's
exists.
broken
First,
confidently. But why was it broken? Tell us, elaborate, educate us if I'm wrong.
because he said that once you prove God exists, then revelation exists, which is there is no relevance here. You can theoretically.
Let me restate
Choose.
my argument.
Okay. Go.
If God is proven to be correct,
Yeah.
revelation has been proven to come from him.
Okay. This broken.
And a
chain of
prophet
causation is broken.
comes, therefore, what is written in the scripture is correct. Tell me why.
Well, first link you made is once God is proven to be true, then revelation must be true, or the revelation that we
Didn't
know must
say
be
that.
true.
You keep strawmanning me.
Okay, then
Yeah?
what is the
I'm
what is
saying
the chain?
if the revelation has been proven to be from God, the prophet has been proven to be sent by God. Therefore, what is written in that book is correct.
Well, first you need to identify which God, which revelation, and which religion.
That's why I'm
and
saying
which book.
that you need to
So
prove a
many
God.
things, right?
That's what I
But
said.
It's not an automatic process, right?
I didn't say it's an automatic process. You're mischaracterizing what I've said at least 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to what I'm saying and then dissect it. If I'm wrong, I will retract it. But for now, I haven't been convinced why I would be wrong.
Yeah.
That if a God can be proven to be true and a revelation can be proven to be from Him, it then follows that whatever is in that book is truthful.
That is logically correct, right? Not practically. But you still couldn't prove any.
Why
of these
is it
things.
not practically correct?
Because you couldn't prove any of these things. You couldn't prove God exists. You couldn't prove revelation.
We
If
were
there is
trying
revelation comes
to, we
from
were
God.
trying to prove God exists at the beginning of this conversation. And we were stuck on semantics because I was asking you for a definition and it seemed like you had some post-traumatic stress syndrome from last time and you were convinced that I was going to take it somewhere else.
But since the proof of the existence of God would not be practically possible because we can't verify it empirically, let's move to the next step and see if we can do that.
No.
If we can do something about that.
There's an assumption in what you're saying. Just because something can't be proven empirically, does that mean it's false?
It doesn't mean false, but we won't be able to
Exactly.
say for certain. We wouldn't be able to say for certain.
Yeah,
so
you
there will
can't
be
be
some room for discretion.
You can't be epistemically certain. I agree with you.
Yeah.
If the criteria is is materialism, yeah, and physicality, but that's not my argument. My argument is, why do you have to take something that is only physical? Why can't we take testimonial evidence? Why can't we take deductive evidence? Why can't we take historical evidence? Why can't we even take scientific evidence? No problem. Or why can't we take a manuscript evidence? Why can't we take stylometry as evidence? Why not? Do you know what stylometry is?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't mean anything if I don't know what.
I haven't made
what,
an
what
argument.
vocabulary I don't understand doesn't prove you right.
I haven't made an argument, brother. Relax.
Then
If
again,
you don't know,
I don't accept this.
if you don't know, ask me and I will tell you happily.
If I don't know, you take it as a point, as you made.
Did I say it's a point because you don't know?
You acted accordingly, but anyway.
Brother, I acted. Brother, come on.
But
I'm sure you
this
can.
is a trick that you use. But
Okay, no problem.
yeah.
I will give you the weapon now. Look, I'm sure there will be words you can use that I'm not going to know. If I don't know, I will humbly say, brother, I don't know. Can you explain it to me? I have no issue with this, brother. If you don't know, I agree. I cannot use that as an argument that, oh, therefore it's true. I haven't made the argument. But for some reason, there's some insecurity there, yeah? Point that I'm saying is, I will reiterate, there's many forms of evidence that you're not aware of, I'm not aware of. For us to completely relegate it and say, no, I'm only going to rely on empirical evidence, I think it's a cop-out. I think it's disingenuous. And I don't think it's an honest way of coming to truth.
What I'm saying is, since it would be difficult and not practically possible for us to come to a conclusive agreement on something in that regard, because it's something
Practical
rather
for who?
rather spiritual, right?
Practical
But
for who, though?
If you really and you have enough
It's not
integrity,
practical for you because your criteria is empirical evidence. I reject that. That's the only criteria for certainty.
well, we're trying to achieve a goal here. To
Sorry.
verify whether religion is accurate, is true.
Let me say one thing, yeah? Let me say one thing that I didn't mention last time. What you're saying is a posteriori knowledge. Do you accept that there is knowledge that we can gain a priori?
Okay, that's possible. Yeah.
That's where I'm endeavoring to take my argument, a priori. Maybe I didn't clarify that last time, yeah? So I'm clarifying that now, yeah? By definition, the law of non-contradiction, we believe in a priori. 2 + 2 is 4, we believe in a priori. The names of things, we believe in a priori, definitions, yeah? So that's my argument. I accept that certain people require a posteriori knowledge. That's not where I'm going with this, because I accept what you're saying, that it can be manipulated and maybe we don't know this,
And it's
maybe we don't
largely
know.
speculative. So we're never going to come to a conclusive agreement on anything. That's why I'm suggesting to
I
just
believe
move on
we
to the
will,
next
though.
point.
I think it depends who we're speaking to, but you're telling me your criteria, which is fine.
Like you would never know for certain. You can make the most coherent, logical argument, but then there would still be room for doubt.
Okay,
Right.
do you believe in morals?
In what sense?
Morality, right and wrong, good and bad.
Do you believe they exist, or what's the question? Can you be more
Yeah,
specific?
do you believe that they exist? Do you believe in morality?
I believe that we made them, so they're man-made.
Do they exist?
In what sense do they? Physical sense? Like it's like
In
it's
a
like
real
saying-
sense.
It's like justice. Well, justice
In a real sense.
in a social sense, maybe they exist.
Do you see, you're asking me questions now. That's what I was doing at the beginning when you said existence, and I was asking for
What you
definitions.
mean by existence? Is
But
that-
do you see, I'm not getting perturbed by you asking me questions. That I just want to draw, some spotlight on that. There's nothing wrong with asking questions if the other
but
person
I'm
is genuine
asking
what they're
with good
saying.
faith, in order to really know what you mean, not to make a point, right? So if you're asking,
I
does
also was
morality-
doing the same.
I don't believe so, but anyway, if you're asking,
That's
if morality-
faith.
I was asking in
Reject
a
your
good faith. I'm asking in a good faith because I really want to know.
How
what
do
you
I
think.
know?
Yeah.
How do I know?
So if you're asking, does morality exist, as in physical existence? I
Do
can't.
you
find,
believe
I
that
can't
there is
find,
okay? Do you
honesty
believe that
under
there
a
is such
tree. I
thing
can't
as
find it under a
morality?
rock.
Do you believe there is a moral system that you adhere to, physical or non-physical?
Yes, I do.
Okay, prove it.
What do you mean prove it? It's a system. How can I prove it?
You believe it exists,
I
right?
believe that there is a system.
Right.
That's why I asked. Do you
Okay,
mean
prove
physical
it.
existence? You can't find honesty and justice under a rock. You can't.
Then why
mine
do you
for,
believe it?
Huh?
Why do you believe it then?
Because I believe it's good. It's good to achieve the greatest.
Stop
good,
saying the word
greatest-
believe. You keep saying believe.
Yes, I believe in it. It's a belief.
Okay, prove it. I don't accept it.
Do I
Show me.
Prove that I
Show me.
believe in it?
Show me empirical evidence.
Empirical evidence in what? I'm saying
The fact that it exists.
I believe in it. That's why I said it doesn't exist physically. You can't find it under a rock. But what I'm saying is,
No problem.
I believe
Even in a non-physical sense, prove
it
it.
achieves the greatest good to the greatest number. That's why you should
I don't accept that. Show me.
show you what.
Show me evidence of that principle.
That it achieves the greatest good to the
No.
greatest number.
Show me scientifically, because your criteria is empirical evidence.
This is not scientific.
I want
this is not scientific.
this to also be measured empirically.
This is not scientific. If
how can you prove
if all humans would extinct tomorrow, there would be no justice. There would be no morality. There would be no mercy. There would be no.
That's a
nothing.
hypothesis, it's not evidence.
Well,
Our
it's-
existence today.
Huh?
Right now, you two talking and having communication, ethical, right? Ethics. You're telling me ethics.
talk about everything. So,
To be able to do that is morale.
I'm not convinced empirically. Show me.
can, what do you want me to convince you with exactly? I
Then-
said it
then
doesn't
can-
exist. It doesn't
then-
exist physically.
Okay.
So what evidence do you need?
Then, as a consequence, can somebody
it's an
say?
abstract idea.
Then-
It's got abstract idea. Whereas the
Then,
physical
as
existence.
a consequence, can you now say, I don't accept any form of morality because I can't be certain of it?
That's not true. Because morality.
Thank you.
Morality is a abstract concept. But what you're claiming and what religious people claiming is that God not only an abstract concept, it's physical existence. It makes actual changes and it makes material change in the universe, in existence.
You're not connecting
Right.
the dots yet.
So
The point
if
that I'm
humans would
saying,
extend, in your opinion, God would still exist.
the point, you're missing the point. The point that I said was, for God, you're saying we need certain empirical evidence.
Why? Because it has physical existence.
Right. But your criteria, I'm looking at your criteria, you keep going somewhere else. If your criteria for certainty of existence is for something to be empirically proven, I'm saying do that for morality, otherwise it's a
We're
cop-out.
dealing with two different issues now. If you're asking-
Absolutely, but I'm looking at your
well-
criteria.
What criteria? Well, it depends on what we're asking. Well, it depends on the question at hand.
So your criteria changes.
Well, of course.
For
if it-
something existing or not
if
existing.
the circumstances changes, then
You're changing the goalpost,
then,
fallacy.
then the tools that we use
Changing
change.
the goalpost.
So if we can't measure temperature by a meter, right, or by a tape, right?
Initially,
If we're measuring different
Initially,
things,
you
we
weren't
need to
willing
use
to grant me
different
that.
Tools, right?
initially you weren't willing to grant me exceptionalism. You were saying that, okay, so if you've got something that is the root of it all, but it itself is dependent, why is the exceptionalism there? I'm now using that same criteria for you that you used, and now you're moving the goalpost now.
I didn't move the goalpost. What I'm saying is, if we're
criteria
measuring different things, then we need to use different tools. If you're asking the question, does God materially exist, then we'd use certain tools, such as empirical evidence, right? But if we're talking about abstract concepts such as morality, justice, good,
No.
evil, then we can't
All
use.
under
We can have a thermometer to see how much
All
good there
under
is.
the umbrella of a posteriori.
Yeah. So,
Both are under that category.
but do you accept or do you deny that God has physical existence?
That's not what we're talking about.
is it that it's-
yes, he has yes, right. So what's the point?
So we can use that. Well, for this we would use certain measurements. So if he has physical existence, then he has material influence. God can make changes. Right? This is the
in
definition,
science,
right?
when something makes changes, you judge it by its effects.
Exactly.
When it came to Planet X,
Yes.
we didn't detect Planet X, yet we said
I
because of
agree on
the
that.
effects.
Can we
So
can
I
we
would
detect any
argue that
effect?
there's more than enough effects of God. For example, objective design, cause and effect, fine-tuning, deductive arguments. All of these are effects
Okay, all right.
of a cause.
That's a good point,
And
yeah.
and Aristotle says there has to be a prime mover or a final cause.
Can we measure and detect these effects that are directly caused by God, and we can distinguish them from things that just happen naturally? Is there any distinction? Like, for example, one good example is prayers.
You're talking
Can
about-
prayers make changes, make material changes? Yes or no?
Yes,
Can we measure that?
it has been measured.
Can we try it?
It's been tried.
Let's try it again. If you prove it, then I'll be all good. Well, if
Why don't you just look at what's been proven already? Why do we have to do it
If
again?
there is a lot,
just
for
because we
example,
don't know?
gravity, for example, it works every time. It doesn't work sometimes. It works every time
No,
you
it
drop
doesn't.
something.
It doesn't.
It always works.
It doesn't.
Given the same circumstances
Now
and
you're
the same
changing it.
conditions,
Now you're changing it.
same conditions means
Being disingenuous
same outcome. This
Does
is,
it work in a vacuum?
That's why I said repeating the same conditions.
You didn't.
It gives the same outcome.
You knew I was going to come back at that. In space, does it work?
No, it doesn't work in space. Well, it does work in space.
I thought it works everywhere.
Well, everywhere, proving or giving the same conditions. But
There you go.
does
There's a
prayer?
gravitational pull.
Yes, so it works in a certain way every time you put it under the same conditions. Does prayer work every time you put it under the same conditions?
If you fulfill the criterias, then yes, it will work
Yes.
every single time.
So if I rule like a coin,
But there's metaphysical conditions which we don't know and we can't measure.
Okay, so it doesn't make a material effect then. So
No.
it would be exact.
No,
Okay,
no.
let me ask you another question.
No.
If
no.
we
need to address
if we
we need to address this.
if we
Yeah?
toss
No,
a
no,
coin
no.
and pray, would
No,
it
this
make
is-
would it make any actual material
Prayer
difference
is
in the
both
outcome? Yes or no?
metaphysical. Prayer
Would it
is
make any
both
difference?
metaphysical. Well, listen to my answer. Prayer is both metaphysical and physical. The criteria that you want to use is only physical.
Well, that's
you
the only
doing?
thing I
What are you
acknowledge.
doing?
I'm only concerned with physical changes. If you say you
Then
claim
if you're only concerned with physical changes, why are you trying to measure something metaphysical?
like what?
Like prayer.
But you said prayer make material.
Yes.
How is that
What,
material?
only material?
That's what I'm asking.
Did I say only material?
Does prayer make material change?
Yes, but
or
not
no?
only material.
Can we change? Can we measure that change?
Yeah, of course we can.
Let's try it. Let me toss a coin and then you pray as much as you want, and then let's see if your prayers are going to affect the outcome.
Right.
If they did affect it, I would believe you. I would convert now.
Okay.
But I'm sure they wouldn't.
So how do you know?
Let's try.
You just say
open.
you're sure it
It's
wouldn't.
a challenge. I said if that were
How
to
are you
be,
so sure?
because I've tried it and it didn't work. Let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Personal issue.
Let's try it again.
I've
If
tried
did,
it.
If it did,
I've had
you
this
touched the
issue
coin?
in my life. Therefore, now I'm certain that it won't work for
Buddhists
anyone else.
say the same things. Christians say the same things. Hindus say the same things. Then I don't know in whose favor does God answer prayers. But anyway,
So you think that prayer will work to prove a concept for you, but
logical-
prayer is not meant to
it will
prove a
never change
concept
the
for you.
outcome. It will never change the outcome. That's
But-
what I'm saying. If you're saying that God makes material change, therefore material change would work in something such
But
as
not
prayer.
for something conceited like that to make a proof for you. Prayer is meant for the good of many.
If there's
So
a law,
when
if there
many
is-
people
if there's a
pray,
law-
changes happen. But one person prays, you had 2, you had 3, you had 4.
The analogy I just gave, if something that is actually true, would work every time given the same
Why would you
conditions.
assume the empirical cause and effect is like metaphysical cause and effect?
Okay.
I can pray.
Okay.
Again,
One
we're
second.
going back
One
and forth.
second. One second.
I'm finding a lot of contradictions here.
One second. The word that I was looking for was methodological naturalism. Yeah. So methodological naturalism is an assumption of science. A very clear way I could say it is if you're going around with a metal detector, what are you going to detect? Metal. If you are 1 hour detecting using a metal detector and afterwards you say, I only detected metal, therefore plastic doesn't exist. Is that a rational conclusion to make?
Yes, but I don't think it's relevant to the
It
the
is.
question.
Let me break it down.
Yeah.
You're trying to do a sleight of hand over here, yeah? Now, when it comes to prayer, when it comes to God, we're not saying they are only physical. We're saying they're physical and metaphysical. Well, when a person is praying, for that prayer to be accepted, there are metaphysical conditions that need to be met. For example, sincerity. You cannot measure using methodological naturalism, science, if that person was sincere. You cannot measure if that person, what they were thinking when they were praying, what their intention was, what their this was, what their aqidah is, this, that, what they said, what in the hadith it even says if you're eating haram, it will affect your prayer, it will affect your dua, it will affect your supplication.
Okay.
And you are aware of
can
this.
you-
One
can for a
second.
second, yeah.
One second. Well, let me finish, then I will wait for you. Yeah? So, if you're seeing now this person, how are you going to judge that he's even a Muslim? You have to go by what he says. He might be a Christian pretending to be a Muslim. Again, you're relying on testimony. You're relying on, you don't know what faith I am. You're judging me based upon my speech. Well, you're going to judge people by their speech. So, there are so many conditions that they are not only not reasonable, they are assumptions and they don't hold to academic rigor. So that person is praying now, he prays and you flipped a coin, mashallah, and suddenly you're saying, aha, his prayer didn't result in anything, therefore there's no God. You cannot say therefore there's no God, it wouldn't follow.
What I want
Thank
to do,
you for listening.
What I want to do is leave all this aside. I'm examining.
What's the point of the answer
I'm,
then?
I'm examining a very specific question. Very, very
I worked
specific.
out on that answer.
No, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in one very specific
Be
question.
disingenuous now.
No, because it didn't answer my question. I mean, I'm interested not in
make
vague
sense?
answers, not in vague answers, not in things outside of.
Do you know what
of the question.
methodological naturalism is?
I understand, but
What is it?
what you just described. If you have a metal detector, you will only detect metals. Well, you only.
I'll let you off with that. I'll let
You
off.
had to look it up to remember the word. But anyway, I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
you
going to
can't,
let you off the hook. Yeah, I'm going to.
Eh?
I'm
Me?
going
I'm
to
not on
stick.
any hook.
I'm going to stick to the same
I
question.
invented the hook.
You claimed that God can make material change, material
100%.
influence.
Yes.
Is there any way we can measure and detect that change? Yes or no? It's a
In
simple question.
science, the mere fact of cause and effect, that's how you'd measure it, right? This happened, therefore that was the cause. That is an assumption within science anyway. So you're using an assumption in science to prove something. How are you doing that?
You still didn't answer my
You
question.
know that landed.
No.
I
no.
saw on your face that landed.
No. It's
Anyway,
it didn't answer
just
my question.
research this. The assumption of cause and effect. And what Hume has said, you know exactly what I mean by that.
Okay. Again, I will repeat it again. I will try to put it in different.
repeat it 100
I
times,
want
brother.
to get an answer. I don't know why I'm not getting an answer.
You know, I
Is
could
there
tell
a
from your
way?
face.
Is there a way to change the results that would have otherwise happened if you let everything run naturally?
There was a point. Sorry, say that point again. I don't want to respond.
Is there
to
anything that you can do using, or God can change something
Yeah.
that wouldn't have otherwise have happened?
Yeah, 100%.
If you, okay, can you give me an example of that? A specific example.
For example, if a relative's about to die, yeah, you ask the doctors and the nurses, you know, this person, that's it. And then you go back to the room, you start praying, you start worshipping.
Does
Yeah.
it work every time?
I would say it does, depending on the individual. I know people, they are called mustajab dua. Yeah, that any time they make du'as,
So they
supplications,
can pray for
it will be
anything,
accepted.
and then will be accepted. Why can't they
That's
pray?
what I've.
The end of world hunger,
That's what
the
I've
end
heard.
of wars, the end of famine. If they can do that, then it would be great. But then unfortunately, nobody has been proven to have done that.
But when they made that supplication, how do you know it hasn't been accepted? Well, God is now a slave that He has to do it there and then.
So it
Again,
would be a much,
assumptions
much
in your
easier.
answer. I can pray for people to be guided,
Yeah.
right? So there
But
might
can
come a
you-
time in the future that everybody might be a Muslim.
Can you pray
But
for
then
someone
that-
to be healed from
that
cancer?
time might not
can you
last.
do that?
Say
And
that
would
again?
it work? Can you pray for someone to be healed from cancer?
Yes.
Would it work?
Now it depends.
Well, let's just put all the funds.
Let me tell you.
Well, let's shut down all the hospitals, the research, the everything, the universities, and let's just find the person whose prayer will be
No, it's
answered.
an argument I've used against Christians as well.
Right.
I know what he's saying. He's very happy. I've had the same smile on my face as well. Okay,
Well,
it's a fair
well,
argument.
It doesn't matter if you heard it before, as long as you haven't provided a sufficient answer.
I'm going to do that
Right?
now, but I just don't want to
Even if you heard
interrupt.
it 1,000 times, it still hasn't been answered.
I'm going to do it now.
Right. Go ahead.
In the concept of dua in Islam doesn't mean you raise your hand and it must be answered there and then. That's a straw man of the consequence of dua. According to the hadith, yeah, when you make dua, either it gets accepted straight away, number one, or number two, you get reward for it on the day of judgment, or number three, a calamity that was about to happen, your dua averts that calamity. So according to the Islamic paradigm, your dua has been accepted, but not in the tight cornered way that you've defined it.
Okay, so no material change still.
It can be a material, it doesn't have to be
It can
material.
or cannot. So that is just like anything else in the world. It's just
Not
it's-
everything else in the world.
It's the same
We
as
don't hold the
it
same
never
view as the
happened.
Christians.
It's the same as it never happened. So it doesn't have a material effect on the outcome. So what's the difference if it happened if you prayed or if you didn't pray?
Right.
There's no
So
difference.
let me reiterate. It doesn't always have to have a material effect. There can also be a metaphysical effect. 2 out of 3 that I mentioned to you are metaphysical effects. 1 only is physical.
Okay.
Now, let's do an internal critique. Prove me wrong.
Okay. If let's say they have
Internal critique. Prove me wrong.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Let's suppose that there is a cancer patient, yeah, and then we have 2 cancer patients, one,
No problem. 3 cancer patients.
2, and then one of which Muslims would pray for him, and then another group, Christian would pray for him, and then a third patient will pray for a statue, for an idol. Will there be any material effect on the outcome of the 3 patients?
By the
I don't believe
definition
there will
I've
be
given
any,
you.
any material effect.
By the definition I've
It
given
will be
you.
exactly the same effect.
No. Either number 1 is going to happen straight away. There will be something material. Or number 2, they will be rewarded for the prayer on the day of judgment. Or number 3, a calamity that was about to come on all of them, that was averted.
So
That's
there is
the
no consistency.
That's the definition of an accepted prayer within Islam. For you to say no, you need to do an internal critique and say why that's wrong.
So you can predict the outcome. So that's my answer. You can predict the outcome.
No, absolutely no.
Okay. Well, that's the same for anything.
No, it's not the same
If
for
I prayed,
everything.
if I prayed for a candy, it would be the same result as well.
No, because if you're praying to a tree, you're never going to get a candy. At least in Islam, I've given you 3. Yeah, 1 out of 3 criteria for that is that it will happen. With you asking that tree, 0 out of 3
If I-
chance of that happening.
So 2 people.
It's not the
one-
same.
If I pray for the tree and you pray for God, and then we toss a coin, will there be any material effect on the outcome of which side of the coin it lands?
It's like you're not listening. Let me tell you again.
Okay, there's no
If you're
effect.
praying to a tree, the tree can't do anything. So there's no criteria for a tree.
How do I know
So-
that God can do anything?
I'm telling you, yeah? You asked me for a definition, I gave you an internal definition that requires an internal critique. Can't give me an external critique on something internal. If you're talking about what the definition of dua is. With regards to the tree, 0 out of 3, if we're taking 3 to be the measure. The tree can't give you anything. We are saying God can. 1 out of 3 probability that the thing will happen straight away. And if you hold a test where a person prays to a tree and a person prays to God, you will see more prayers of Muslims being accepted than tree worshippers.
Can we test that?
Yes,
If we can,
go for it.
If we can prove that,
Fund it, and I will love to be.
I will fund it.
I
personally.
will be one of the
I will
worshippers
fund
there.
it. I will fund it personally.
I will be involved in this
Right?
research.
Okay, let's do it.
I promise.
And then if we have,
If you are able to organize this
I will organize this.
and you get the accreditation
And then-
from the peer reviewed and all that,
I mean,
I'm ready, brother.
imagine how
I'm
many
ready.
issues in the world will be resolved if you just do this.
I'm ready,
And then
brother.
we're just gonna stop doing this every Sunday. Everyone is gonna be happy. Everyone is gonna go home.
No,
And
no, no.
we'll
I'll tell you
settle
why
it,
not.
right?
I'll tell you why not.
We'd settle it.
No,
And then
no,
everything
no,
is
no.
gonna
I'll
go.
tell you why not. There's a friend of mine that comes here every pretty much. He's become a regular now, yeah? Trevor. He's an atheist. We've given him all sorts of arguments. This argument there will be insufficient for him.
It would be sufficient for me if you can.
For
prove-
me.
Yeah.
Not for Trevor. Trevor says, I don't know, I might see him again and
It would
bring
be
him in.
sufficient for millions. Should we
For
have
millions, but you're
should
changing
we have
it.
be-
You said everybody will accept Speaker's Corner will be empty, this, that. No, 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 we don't accept that, yeah? Because this guy, his
true.
criteria is he wants to see God. He wants to see God.
That's ridiculous.
Thank you.
But if you
Something we agree on.
let's do this. If that would,
I'm ready, fund it now.
I'm saying that there are billions would actually have made their mind.
Billions.
Billions. Well, if you can get one research, how come there is not one research of the similar nature?
There are research, but the thing with the research is because people are unconvinced with cause and effect, therefore there is always that scope left. But is that the direct cause of that effect? You can't say that certainly. That's why there'll always be skeptics. Because there will always be variables that maybe we are unaware of.
At least give
That's-
them the chance. At least give them
Let's
the
do
chance.
it. I'm
Let's
ready,
do that.
brother.
All right. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I hope this conversation was better than last time.
A little bit.
A little bit. Good. We're getting there. We're getting there. I apologize if last time I know it got a bit heated or whatnot. But if I offended you, I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, because it's good. I like to talk about these things. I may be right, I might be wrong, no problem.
Yeah, it's okay.